to Adoring Fans training series, How Not to Suck at Elder Scrolls Online. My name is Joe, and I am your adoring fan. Before we get started, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up about adoringfan.com. It's a community-driven database tool for Elder Scrolls Online. If you like what we're doing here, support Adoring Fan. It's free. All you gotta do is check us out at adoringfan.com, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is episode 3, Armor, Skills, and Putting It All Together. Just to make a quick correction, in episode 2, I had mentioned that 1 point of health should have provided 20 hit points. Since a recent patch, this is no longer the case. 1 point of health now actually only grants 15 hit points. Okay, glad to get that out of the way, so let's get started talking about armor. In ESO, there are 3 types of armor. Presently, light, medium, and heavy armor. Each of these 3 armor types have their own skill line. Also worth noting, the majority of the skills in all of these skill lines are heavily synergistic with one attribute. Each of the armor skill lines have 1 active skill and 5 passives. You will gain bonuses from these passives based on the number of pieces of armor equipped of the chosen armor type. Let's get started with light armor. Light armor is commonly referred to as cloth or robes, and it correlates strongly with the magicka attribute. The bonuses from light armor include magicka regeneration, spell magicka cost reduction, spell resistances, and spell critical hit chance. Also spell penetration. Medium armor is commonly referred to as leather, and medium armor is the stamina attribute armor skill line. Medium armor passives increase physical attack crit chance, stamina regeneration, stealth detection resistance, stealth cost reduction, attack speed, sprint cost reduction, and dodge cost reduction. Heavy armor is commonly referred to as plate, and it is the health and tanking armor skill line. Heavy armor passives provide physical damage and spell damage mitigation, health regeneration, increased melee attack power, reduction to the cost of blocking, and increase of the healing received by the player. So if you've been paying attention these past few videos, you might have noticed a trend. Everything we've been talking about, class skills, weapon skill lines, armor skill lines, they're all heavily related to the attributes stamina, magicka, and health. There are also quite a few combat skill lines, some focusing on DPS, healing, and tanking, and other general utility. Each of these requires stamina or magicka to cast, and all of these skills will improve as you increase their associated attribute. Looking at the 3 armor skill lines, they each provide a benefit to one specific attribute. Just to recap, light armor provides benefit to magicka, medium stamina, and heavy armor to health and tanking. So when I approach creating a character, I like to do it as follows. First, I choose a role, whether that's tank, DPS, or healer. Secondly, I like to figure out some more specifics. Let's say I decide tank. Which taunt am I going to use? The Sword of War taunt for Sword and Shield, or the Undaunted's Inner Fire? Maybe I'm going to use both. How about for DPS? Am I going to be a caster, an archer, a melee? Do I want to focus on a weapon skill line, or would I prefer to spend mana using a class skill line focus? Is this character going to be a healer? If so, am I going to be using a restoration staff? Or would I prefer to heal using the Templar's class line, Restoring Light? Maybe I'll use both. So now I'll use this info and decide on which class I want to be. And then I'd best choose a race with the most optimal synergies for this plan, or just the one that looks the coolest. Now that I have a plan, I'd like to determine the armor type that's most beneficial. For example, let's say I wanted to make a new character. First, I would decide on my role. And let's say this new character should be a DPS. Now, let's figure out the details. This time I want to try an archer. Okay, and this time I probably want to focus on my bow skill line. Yeah, let's do that. So I understand that the bow skill line relies on stamina as its attribute, just like all of the other non-staff weapon skill lines. So I want to build this character with a focus on medium armor to get additional stamina bonuses. Let's also say I'm going to choose Bosmer, the Wood Elves, for my race. They have a really good racial passive. That's the equivalent to training bonus for bows. Now we have a solid handful of synergies planned out for this character. And we could happily pick any of the 4 classes depending on our preference for their skill lines. Let's say maybe this time I'll go Sorcerer, because I like the Daedric Summoning skill line. And that way my archer can get some pets and play it out like a hunter. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Then in this instance, I would feel confident spending all of my 49 attribute points into stamina, knowing that the bow skill line is going to be my primary source of damage, and those points in stamina are going to increase that damage significantly. Coming soon in future episodes of Adoring Fans' new training series. Vampirism and lycanthropy, the only 2 diseases you want, and how to contract them. Class reviews for Templar, Dragon Knight, Sorcerer, and Nightblade. Also, Tanking and Healing 101, and much more.
I didn't want salmon! I said it 4 times!